Welcome, everybody, another edition of the Bipolar Rollers. I have a very special guest for one of my friends at my other day job, and the host of 40 Seconds of Comedy on YouTube, which I'm going to include a link in the video description, so you guys can check him out because he's quite funny. His name is Josh Muise, and he's with me today. Say hello, Josh. How's it going?
Good day, good day.
We're going to have a little discussion about bipolar, and I came and invaded Josh's space so that so I can have a special guest and discuss mental health issues. Now, I was thinking about this on the drive here, Josh. For people with bipolar, to work at a place that gives free coffee, especially if you love coffee like I do, this crazy Brazilian loves coffee. I don't know if overdoing coffee is a great thing for bipolar or anybody with a mental health issue that doesn't like to be too jittery. I think, what's your thoughts on that? It's a stupid question. But I tell you, I've noticed a lot. I don't know if you guys noticed this.
Listen, that's what he was talking about on his last video about the superpower.
Superpower.
Caffeine
is a superpower, for sure. But you can't abuse it because apparently it's bad for you if you have too much.
But if you're feeling low and you're like, I need coffee.
Yeah. Tired, he means.
You know?
I don't know if coffee really... Oh, does it? Yeah, I guess it makes me happy.
Every time you're like low, are you emotionally low or are you energy low?
Yeah, that's true. Or are you both, which is a double whammy, and that's time to call it sick.
See, that's where you want to up the chemicals, right?
Yeah, I should probably mention that me and Josh dabbled a little bit in the herbal remedy before we started.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
So this video might just go south really quickly. You never know, but but we'll see. So though Josh doesn't suffer from bipolar like I do,
I've been diagnosed.
Yeah, that he's been diagnosed, and there's a lot of you guys out there who just don't know yet, but you kind of, like we do in our generation now, we do a lot of detective work on our own online to see if we fall into the symptoms or whatever. Self-diagnosing is risky because apparently I have leprosy as well, and 4 stages of cancer, so I don't know. No, I'm kidding.
Listen, if there's one time that I feel like such a low, I just go, what the heck is going on with me? Oh, right. I quit binge drinking.
Yeah.
I quit binge this drug.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. All of a sudden I'm like, whoa, I have all this energy, but at the same time,
but you feel a lot more. That's a really good point, Josh.
You feel more energized. You're like, whoa, what's going on? Ha ha. And then you're like, oh, right. That was sobriety.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of us self-medicate. And then when we stop and we try to live a balanced life, we notice that things start to go fucking haywire, real quick. And that's because we can actually feel things now, where before we used to just numb ourselves so that we didn't have to deal with these symptoms. Now, all of a sudden, we're clean and things are worse. It's like, what the hell? It's like they're not actually worse. We're actually experiencing things the way they're supposed to feel. Maybe we're a little more raw because we haven't experienced them in a while. We've been numbing ourselves for so long. We don't even know what it feels like to feel that shit anymore. And then when we feel it, we're like, something's horribly wrong with me. No, you're sober for once. It's different.
That's where most people go, oh, right. I remember that, how I hated you, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And then, wait, it was 1992, but it was 8 years ago.
Yeah, that's, and for something relatable for me, getting baked every night, it kind of hides red flags in personal relationships too. You sometimes will overlook some things that are serious issues that need to be dealt with, but you're busy numbing yourself because you couldn't be bothered to deal with it head on. You may not feel strong enough to do that. So procrastination's pretty big deal, especially with weed, I guess. But we should talk about. Josh was mentioning to me that even though he hasn't been diagnosed with bipolar, he grew up in a household where his mother figure had bipolar. Now, they say bipolar is hereditary, and I don't know whether I 100% agree with that, even though it is a factor. but it could explain a lot of things. What was that like to be like? Were you tiptoeing on eggshells around the
Here's
house?
the thing. When I got to high school,
Mm-hmm.
they finally allowed me to have like a psychological class.
Like it's like what do you mean? We probably should have skipped that last joint, but like the first two were great. What, like a psych.
A psychology class.
Oh,
like,
okay.
You
Yeah.
know. Sorry.
You were in psychology, like.
Sorry, I just get emotional.
Yeah, I should allow for
Like-
that because this is a tough subject for a lot of people.
Like when I talk about this type of stuff, I just get really stuffed up.
It's your mom. It's your first love,
you know?
really. You know.
And no, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So to watch them kind of spiral sometimes is really hard on a kid, especially when you look at your parents like super
So
people.
like
You know?
the epicenter
Mm.
of like how everything like really transformed into me about like being like that pure psychologist, right?
Mm. You felt like
was
you were
Gimli.
diagnosing your mom
Like
a lot.
Gimli,
Like Gimli.
right? So Gimli, I was diagnosed with ADD,
Right.
not ADHD, but
Mhm.
ADD,
Yeah.
And
Relatable
so-
for me.
right?
Yeah. Ooh, butterfly. No, it's kidding. Bad joke.
And so I just like I thought to myself like, oh man, like I have ADD.
Mm-hmm.
So they sent me to the counselor.
Yeah.
My mom was like, that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
Right?
So
So sure enough, she was like, all right, cool. This is gonna work.
right.
Right?
Yeah, because they do. I mean, when we were growing up, we just figure you got a problem, go to the doctor. He's got a solution. It sounds simple. It's never that black and white most of the time, and it requires a lot of work on your part for sure too. Yeah, and that's tough though, because I mean, they tell you what you want, what you should do, but they don't tell you how hard it's going to be. You know, and that's the tricky part. Like you don't really. Me and Josh are old enough to remember that mental health wasn't really looked upon very admirably, or it was actually there were very few resources for us growing up. Crazy was the word they used a lot for anybody with a mental illness. These days, there's a lot more support. There's a lot of places you can turn to, but we're still from the generation of, you're nuts, and so that's hard. Getting past the shame of it too, like having people. You're scared to tell people because you don't want them to look at you differently. I've come out as bipolar, and boy, it's changed a lot of stuff. In fact, if somebody doesn't agree with a point I make, say on social media, someone who may have like a real dick complex might actually throw the bipolar at me and try to diminish my argument based on my mental health. Like, people don't understand. Anybody with a mental health condition, it's only obvious a lot, sometimes 30 to 40% of the time. We actually do have lots of moments where we're just perfectly balanced and normal. It's not something that you are all the time. It's a condition that just pops up every now and then. So, but a lot of the time we're just like you guys, so judgment's really hard. People don't understand it. You can tell by the things they say sometimes, that they don't really understand how bipolar works. It's not who you are, it's what you have. It's a big difference.
So fast forward, right? Like, here I am.
How old were you?
During then, I was like 20, 21.
Oh wow, you got diagnosed late. Yeah.
Well, no,
same.
I've never been diagnosed though.
Oh, okay. Oh, Jesus. All right, that was the weed talking. So,
my mom is the one who has bipolar.
yeah, but you got diagnosed with ADD. At what age?
Fucking grade 5.
Grade
So,
5. Jesus.
Age
so you were-
10.
Wow. See, I envy that. People who got diagnosed early, I had no idea what was wrong with me. Like, it wasn't until my daughter, I was dealing with some parental alienation. I couldn't see her, and she was my reason to live. So I actually went checked myself in at the U of A here in Edmonton on suicide watch because I was devastated, and that's when they diagnosed me with bipolar, and I had no idea like at all. I knew something was wrong, but
See,
but I was like in my late 20s at that point, so that's pretty late.
so
Yeah. So you were like 10 or
so
something. Did you understand
I
it at
lived-
that age?
I kind of did.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, I used to walk home every day between the ages, like the grades of like 7 and 8.
Yeah. Did you
And
get
9.
lost?
And
I
9,
mean,
no.
ADD. I was just like,
Here's
oh,
the
maybe
thing,
I live
like,
here.
I walked home like from like grade 7 to 9,
Mm-hmm.
wondering if I'm gonna find my mom hanging.
Oh, geez. Yeah, so she suffered with a lot of depression.
No,
eh?
well, here's the thing, she's suffering by bipolar.
Yeah, well, depression's a big part of it, unfortunately.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, well,
a lot of
that's
people
the
commit
main-
suicide with bipolar.
That's the
It's,
main ingredient. Right?
yeah. Wow. And at that age, to be worried about your mom's safety, based.
Well, here's the thing. Well, like like you had my sister. You know what I mean? Like she was watching my sister.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
So, you got to
like-
worry about both of them then.
Oh,
Yeah.
right?
That's a lot for a 10-year-old to carry around on his shoulders. So that's
So
Jeez.
here's the thing, right? Like you gotta think to yourself, like, when's her extremes and when's her lows?
yeah. Well, you never know, right? It's
Well, that's
was she
Bipolar.
consistent? Like, did it go up?
no,
down, up?
God,
It was
no,
all over
God,
the
no.
place.
Here's
right?
the thing, money.
It did. The money made a difference for.
If my stepdad made money,
Mm-hmm.
she'd be happy,
Oh, okay.
right?
From what it bought, or from
No,
just.
Just oh yeah, we need this.
Oh, okay.
You know,
So she felt-
we need this. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, all right.
So she felt covered, and and then she was able to get the things that she felt she needed for the house. But if that wasn't possible, then probably the depression would spiral, and she'd feel like she couldn't do her part as a parent.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, that's complex. Yeah.
Like
that-
think
what a dynamic.
Think to that, right? Like
Mhm.
my dad was throwing money at her,
Yeah.
and that's not enough.
No.
What do you do then?
No, because when the money stops, which it inevitably does,
It has to.
yeah, and then you
It
gotta.
has to.
And if your worth or your happiness is dependent on it, and it dries up, oh, that's tricky. Yeah, yeah, I can relate to that too. Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
see-
money does make a difference for sure. Mental health is a lot harder to deal with if you're broke.
You see, but it's about the value of self.
Yeah.
You see, like a lot of people that have bipolar, that's where they're missing out on being a superpower.
Yeah, because they've lost their self-value, their self-esteem. And and a lot of that is your surroundings too. If you're around people who don't understand, it's really hard to feel like what's validated, Like Josh and I work with a bunch of great people, but for the most part, a lot of them are fairly vanilla. Like we're kind of the, we're kind of the,
Honest.
we're a lot of the odd,
Honest.
we're
That's
kind of the
true.
oddballs of
That's
the
true.
crew.
That's true.
Because we not only are we quirky characters, and one of the reasons why I'm drawn to Josh is because us bipolar people have a dark and ridiculously funny sense of humor, and Josh is full of dark humor all the time.
40-second comedy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Granted, he's a lot funnier when he's not high, but like also. I'm
Honest.
kidding.
Honest.
Yeah,
Honest.
but you guys can see for yourself because I'm going to
That's
include
an
a link in the
honest
description.
fact, though.
Yeah,
That's an honest.
That's my
fact.
bad. I got him into a state where he could barely talk. But like
No.
we're gonna. But dark humor is very much appreciated by those of us with a mental illness, and a lot of times it's a way for us to just kind of release some pressure, maybe even come out and say things that we actually kind of mean, but we add a little funniness to them, so that people don't get
If
hit
you're
with it.
not laughing at the dark, what are you laughing at?
Oh, exactly. And you got to make it kind of lighthearted for some people, because if they say, "Hey, how are you?" and you go, "Oh, I want to kill myself," that doesn't really go over that well in a conversation.
Yo, I said that right to him. I said that right to him.
Yeah, you did. And so that doesn't fly as humor in the workplace. I don't know why. It's weird, but so if you sprinkle a little humor over top of it, then we can actually kind of voice how we're actually feeling, and still not make it too awkward for somebody else. And therefore, dark humor is kind of a tool that we use a lot of the time. And
No,
you guys,
trust. 40-second comedy will allow you to
be yourself.
evaporate.
To be yourself and to screw these PC people. Like, I'm imagined, because I know Josh well enough to know that he's probably at no point been very politically correct, and neither have I. And frankly, I find those people kind of annoying. The forever offended on behalf of someone else are my least favorite people. And so it was easy to bond with this guy. And but I was pleasantly surprised to know that he does suffer with a lot of the same feelings of lack of self-worth.
I'll be here again. I know it.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely.
Here's the thing: we'll actually have a plan.
Yeah, we'll have a plan. If you guys have been following my videos for a while, you know that I kind of fly by the seat of my pants. No script,
straight.
One take, and if I screw up, I end up doing the whole thing all over again. I'm not into editing. I'm not trying to make this fancy. I want to keep it real.
Amazing.
Get out.
Yo, this guy's amazing.
But dude, when you were growing up and you knew that there was something not quite right, what kind of things did you use to self-medicate?
Okay, listen here, right? Like,
because we all self-medicated at some point, even if it's pharmaceuticals, we're still kind of.
Here. Yo, here's an original story by this guy, Josh Muise.
In case you're wondering who you're talking to, yeah, he's right here. Yeah.
So I told this kid, I was like, yo, we can get out of this place. He's like, what? He's like, nah. Wait,
was this prison? What are you talking about?
No,
prison?
okay. We're talking third grade.
Oh, third grade.
Third grade.
We got a third grade jailbreak.
No, listen. And I'm like, yo, you gotta go with me. He's like, all right, cool. So recess ended, right? And I was like, yo, recess didn't end for us though. He's like, yo, no worries. So he played. I'm like, all right, let's get out of here. So I walked, and
you guys left
Winnipeg people will know this. See, you gotta
shout out to the Winnipeggers.
Yeah. I walked past this famous bar on Portage, with him.
Yeah.
I'm like, my house is this way. So he followed me.
You guys just
half an hour later
played hooky.
Half an hour later, I look. I'm like, oh shit. That's the ops, right? I'm like, sure enough, it's my mom, and the principal, and the vice principal, and they're like,
you had the full team, bust you playing hooky.
Josh, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just walking home,
So adventures.
No, wait. That's when I knew how malleable humanity was.
Yeah.
You see, when you have bipolar disorder, you get to overthink everything.
It's one of our joys, isn't it? Everyone loves overthinking.
But
sure.
The problem is that you don't get to enjoy it because you've weighed out this much and this much and this much and this much, and sure enough, even if you're right, all this much is still right there. Okay, all right, now listen.
That's a good point.
I should have been a professional babysitter. No, listen, don't even get. I should have been a professional babysitter because I understood people.
I'm not sure if that's a qualification, but I think
no.
Caring for the welfare of a child is probably higher up on the list. But listen, Josh took the long way around, but I know what point he's making there is that we tend to little things are kind of big things for us because we've thought it through in a lot of different ways. So somebody might go, hey, you want to go to the store? And someone else would just casually say yes because they just imagine just going, just doing it. Well, we're going to think about, how we're getting there, where we're stopping along the way, how to make it more scenic, like what we're taking with us, when we're going to be back. Like, why do we do that? Because our mind is running constantly without any real. We don't have a transmission. We're not lightly pumping the brakes. It's just full bore, and we're just trying to keep up. So we tend to make things more complicated than they need to be, which is why I highly recommend meditation.
I like that.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
good.
it's way too complicated.
No doubt. Boom.
And, and that's why I recommend meditation, because it slows everything down to the point where it's just coming at you.
Is it crazy that my daughter meditates right in the middle of the playground?
How old's your daughter?
5 years old.
5 years old and meditating. See, now they should teach that in school.
Literally,
honestly.
she'll literally close her legs, boom, boom.
Where did she learn that from?
Ads.
Oh, ads? What?
I know.
And I always skip past them. You think you mean I could have been healed?
But here's the thing: it's about the ads that they're promoting. Right?
Yeah. Well, that's pretty special. Personally, I think that meditation should be taught in all schools because it really makes a huge difference, especially if you have a mental illness. Because it's like you can't stop the flow, but meditation does that for you. And I know that it's challenging, and a lot of people have a hard time with meditation. They just don't know how to quite do it right. It's actually really easy. You're just doing what normal bipolar people do, which is overthink it. It doesn't involve thinking at all. You can notice thoughts come in, but you don't pay attention to them. You just go, oh, that's nice, and then you just let the thought go past you. You don't give it any of your
Lily
time.
pad it.
Yeah.
Pad it.
See, that's an expression a lot of people don't understand, but but it makes total sense. Just let it just float by you. You notice that you can notice the thought, but just don't invest any time or more thought into it.
I'm really sorry that I couldn't be more of clear mind on this one.
No, it's all good. It's my bad because I thought loosening things up with a couple joints would make things okay, but I am hopped up on a lot of coffee right now.
Ask me the questions you want to ask me.
Oh, for sure. I've got more.
Do it.
So, okay.
Yeah, let's do this.
Now, do you find that nobody knows at work that you may be bipolar, do they? Because I had to disclose it.
No, they know I'm an alcoholic.
Oh, they suspect. I don't think they.
No, they know.
They know. Okay, so he's an alcoholic, and
100%.
You do realize this video is going to be watched.
Of course.
So, and we all have our own coping mechanisms.
No.
Comedians tend to
whatever feels inebriated.
Yeah, whatever feels inebriated, he's gonna do. Gentlemen, if you need someone inebriated,
smoking weed with me.
Yeah.
Sure enough, that's fine.
Yeah, but
I don't want to drink with this guy.
No, you don't want to drink with me. I tend to hump anything that moves.
But you see, that's
kidding.
That's mixing mental disease with the other mental disease.
Yeah. The two mental diseases probably shouldn't mix. They're not the best of friends.
Here I am. No.
We've gone off course a little bit, but so let me ask you: have you noticed that that people respond differently to, say, you, or if you say something as opposed to somebody they don't already know is struggling with a mental illness? Like for me, for instance, the minute people seem to know that you have a mental illness, they kind of regard you a little differently. And I've been at jobs where I've told people, because I made a few videos where I highly recommend that you let your employer know that you have bipolar. It's important that they at least know. But that comes, and I did warn you, it comes with some drawbacks, because people never seem to, well, not everybody, but some people just never seem to look at you the same way the minute you open up to them about a mental illness. Do you feel like anybody does that to you? Like, have you ever opened up to somebody and then have them just treat you completely different after that point?
Being a comedian, I can just say that I'm...
Oh, right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because you got that buffer. Like, people don't know if you're serious or not, and...
So...
I wish I had that.
I'm just gonna grab some water.
Yeah. Because if you can sprinkle it with a little comedy or make it a little more lighthearted, an awkward topic like that tends to just kind of be easier for people to digest. And not, I wish I had that to fall back on because, but you don't want to overdo it because I've had a job once where I was the job comedian, and I was just on a roll that year, and I had lots of great zingers. But after a while, if that's all you bring to the table, people just don't take you that seriously anymore. So when you have something important or serious to talk about, they just look at you as Henry the comedian or whatever, and they don't take you as seriously anymore. But we're not on 24/7.
I don't think people would treat me any differently if I was diagnosed with bipolar.
Well, no, but if they knew, they might.
But what is bipolar?
It's a gut thing, I think. People used to say it was a chemical imbalance. Now the science is saying that it's actually gut related.
That's it right there. Where are your organs feeling when you feel? See, this is where I love mushrooms.
Yeah. Hopefully legalization soon. Like we want microdosing. Highly recommended for your depression.
When you feel mushrooms kick in, you're like, oh my gosh, my anxieties kick in. But where do they kick in?
Yeah.
Are they kicking in the stomach? Are they feeling here, the liver?
Well,
you see, it's about the anxiety level.
Yeah, anxiety is a big one, and that comes hand in hand with most mental illnesses. Anxiety. You don't even have to have a mental illness these days with the stressful life. Life is just freaking stressful right now. Yeah, and everybody's got stress, and it's a killer. We all know that stress can kill you.
How do you regulate it?
Yeah, and one of the weapons it uses is anxiety. Like stress comes with anxiety. In fact, some people would basically lump stress and anxiety together. They're pretty much the same thing, really. I mean, in a lot of ways.
Let's face it. When it comes down to doing something, that's where anxiety lies.
Yeah.
Doing something.
Yeah, that's true. Taking action comes with it the fear of not taking the right action or failing at that action, and that stirs up some anxiety. Nobody wants to do something poorly, like on purpose. Yeah, they don't. I mean, I would like to be poorly. I would love to be able to do being poor very poorly. Yeah, it's opposite. Okay, that joke fell flat, but but everything else I would like to do really well. And
in my experience with dealing with bipolar, you see, here's the great part, is my mom, she taught me how to deal with a baby. Okay, this is obviously going live, so I'm just gonna tell it, okay?
Okay.
So like one night, my friend Match and I were like, yo, where are we gonna get some weed?
Yeah.
And my friend Andrew was like, yo, your mom wants some weed. I'm like, all right, cool. So he's like, all I got is this ground shake. That's it, ground shake.
I'm really curious to know where this is going. Yeah.
So Match and I deliver it to her, thinking she might give us some. All of a sudden, she's like, nah, I don't want that weed. I quit weed. You know what I mean? Like, she hit a low.
Yeah.
She must have hit a low. She was just like, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. I'm like, all right, cool, no doubt.
So she did the exact opposite of what I do when I hit a low. I mean, I want more weed when I hit a low.
But she had a closed room. She had a closed, like, she could fall asleep. I don't bug her anymore. She can fall asleep. And anyone with bipolar knows when you hit a low, there's nothing better than a dark room.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, you can just feel dark, you know? And like, sure enough, so here, you wanna,
So I don't recommend all of that to everyone because sometimes wallowing in that darkness can actually make things worse.
Well,
but
sure.
I do believe that in order to get over something, you have to get through it.
But
you know, you can't keep delaying
You've
it.
given up your high. You know what I mean? You've given up your high on bipolarism. She wasn't even diagnosed at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? She was just doing what she does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so sure enough, here me and Matt here, like, what the fuck do we do with this weed? Well, we'll smoke it.
Yeah.
In a ditch, yo.
So there are two people smoking pot in a ditch.
Pot. Weed, marijuana in a ditch, and like, and when we saw like cars go by, like, oh shit, no, like we'd hide, and like we got so baked. I'm like, oh man.
So,
but then like I went to sleep, and like here's the thing, when I go to sleep, I meditate on the day. I meditate on the day.
He's getting to a point here, folks. I know he is. Just hang in there. Yeah,
100%,
okay.
100%. Like, I meditate on the day. And, like, that day, I was like, what the fuck?
What were you thinking about?
Like, well, I was just thinking, like, why was so much paranoia going on? And, like, sure enough, like, here I am, 34. I've defined paranoia. And, like, when you think about it, like, my mom was just going through a super low. Like, when she was diagnosed with bipolar, I was, like, 22.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, the fact that she didn't kill herself in between, like, 0 and
so
56.
You grew up with a lot of that dread,
and like that.
Like you weren't
of
sure.
Course.
Yeah,
of course.
And
I said before, and you can go back on this. I said before, I walked home and thought she was going to be hanging from the roof.
Yeah. So her lows must have gotten pretty bad at some point.
Yeah, and, but here's my dad. Here's my stepdad of 13 years.
Yeah. Giving
her medication. Plop, 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 plop.
Yeah.
As long as you take medication, you'll be fine.
Yeah. And that may work for some people. I know if you guys have been following my channel, you know I'm trying it all natural. I got off the medication because it was causing problems. And I was watching lots of late night television, and every second lawyer that would go on there would talk about, have you taken blah, blah, blah? Well, you may be entitled to some. And those were all the medications I was on. So, like, it was starting to freak me out a little bit. And I started doing a little research. And there was very few of the medications out there for people with bipolar that don't have side effects, and some of them brutal. Yeah, Wellbutrin tried that.
Okay, here's the thing. My dad.
Ativan.
Wellbutrin.
Celexa. There were so many. Champex he tried a little bit, but that was mainly to quit smoking.
Champex,
that was mainly to quit smoking, and they got me off of it pretty quick because they said it was you're a suicide risk if you have bipolar and get on Champex.
My mom just this is why I can't trust psychotherapists who go and dig into people's memories, because you make up them, you make them up, right?
It's possible, yeah. But you got to ask the right questions, or else you won't get past that surface, that made up stuff, to what actually happened. Yeah.
Here's the thing: that made up stuff has sent people to jail.
Yeah, it has. It has. Yeah.
You know, but at the same time,
And if you follow my channel, you're very well aware of my history with made up stuff sending me to jail. So it's been good. It's been a rocky time, as usual. When you have bipolar and you're a little socially awkward, you tend to make...
Ask me your questions.
Yeah, well, I'm asking. But okay, so if you had...
I'm going to answer quickly. So ask me quick questions.
Yeah, okay. Well, we don't have a bonus round, but we are definitely, we'll definitely get to that point.
I'm down. Yeah.
Yeah. If you had to pick something about bipolar that actually is a strength for you, what would you say that is? Like, what part of bipolar is?
Overanalyzing.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah, and this is great for job interviews too, by the way, because
honestly,
because you overthink things that
when
can
they
be good.
say, listen, when they say what's the strength, overanalyzing.
Yeah,
that would be beautiful.
Yeah, a level of perfectionism. You can spin it so it's likely like perfectionism. Except it's not quite because we tend
add
to
a variable that just isn't there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
That's the problem with overthinking, is that we come up with scenarios that probably aren't going to happen.
No, you add a variable that isn't there. That's why when like women have it, it's a different strength.
It's a nightmare for your kids, though, because they're the same ones who will freak out about you leaving the house without a scarf.
That's why you don't leave. Anyways, okay.
Yeah. So the overanalyzing is a strength for you. What would you say is the worst part about having bipolar?
You want to sleep so much. You just want to sleep. All you want to do is sleep because
I've read about that. That.
You know so much.
Yeah.
You know so much about the world. Oh yeah, that's cool. You know so much.
And you feel helpless to change it. So sometimes just like escaping from a moment.
Sure, like even like it's so hard to go to sleep with bipolar because you're like, oh man.
Yeah, and you guys can relate to
so
that.
So much.
And there's my mind plagues me at night just before bed. I think about all the things that went wrong, all the things that went right, what I should have done.
Exercises of like, all right, I will let that go.
Yeah. And people wonder why we have a hard time sleeping regularly. Jay, one thing I've covered in my videos on how to tell if you're starting to enter mania is that you start having shitty sleep patterns and shitty sleep, or finding like you don't even need sleep.
What like?
Do you notice that too?
When you decide that like that's it, I'm just gonna analyze every conscious moment, and then go. All right, that's cool.
It isn't cool. We don't usually think it's
1 a.m. Great.
Yeah. Are you done, brain? Because I'm exhausted.
All right, great. It's 2 a.m. Sweet. Sweet. All right, it's 3 a.m. Can I go to sleep yet? Yeah. But at the same time, they have games. They have like things that you're like, no, I can't do that. You know what?
There's something that helps with you though. Well, like for me, before I realized I wasn't with someone very faithful, I used to find that her company put me at peace. Like it put my heart at rest. I had the best sleeps when she was over. Had I known what was going on, I probably wouldn't have. But I had the best sleeps when she was over. So I, God bless her for that, because who knows how little sleep I would have gotten without that comfort. But
if I cut my wrist. That's a physical, indention.
And
a lot of people are going to be like, you're going to die from that wound, you know?
Yeah.
When it comes to
mental, trauma and stuff,
even
people don't realize how close
the mental does not come without the physical. And when you rip that apart, you go, oh, I can deal with that. I can deal with that, but you can't, because when you try to fix things together, you just have other definitions.
Yeah.
But you see, that's how you know who your true friends are, who your true support networks are.
Yeah.
And that's people that go, oh, cool, like you insulted me. You know what I mean? Like you insulted me.
I don't know what you mean, but I do.
No,
I do think that people can't see the emotional.
I insult someone.
Yeah.
And they're like, meanwhile, that was a weakness of theirs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That was a weakness of theirs, and sure enough, that weakness becomes a strength between people.
Like a bonding thing.
Of course.
Yeah, because there's mutual ground there, and so
you see, like bipolar people need to find that groove.
Yeah. And the
You
group of
see?
people who couldn't make light of something like that and still love you and still understand that there's some quirks about having bipolar. And if you guys can laugh about it together,
Right.
it makes it less
Right.
less of a burden
What makes
to
you
carry.
bipolar? What makes you bipolar?
Yeah.
What makes you...
And isn't there funny shit about it? There's lots of funny stuff about being
I'm
bipolar.
telling you, there's no...
Not if you
there's
check
no
Google.
limit.
There isn't.
Listen,
Don't look at Google.
Listen, there's
Yeah.
no limit to
them.
what you can say
Yeah.
to people. I'm telling you.
I have found a limit a few times.
No,
but-
no, I'm
It
telling
depends
you.
on your group, though. I
The only
guess.
reason he's found limits is because he lost a job.
I was with some tight ass
Listen,
people. Yeah.
because at the same time, if you can find some friends, you're like, yo, fudgy crinkles. Do you know what fudgy crinkles are?
I'm guessing, is that slang for like clone or whatever? Is that like is that skid marks? Is
So
that-
it's like
no?
when you like fuck the anus.
Okay, well, we're not going to talk about fucking the anus. This is a Bipolar Roller channel. I forgot I'm dealing with a very dark humor comedian here, so I'm gonna keep him on track because it's my fault he got
But
off
at
track.
the same time, yes. What other questions do you
Check
have?
out his channel for more.
No, I answered. I
Fudgy
definitely
Crinkles
answered. I
talk.
definitely answered his question.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I guess you kind of did, but I'm gonna
well,
have to.
I
I'm gonna
said that,
spend tonight overanalyzing that, laying in bed thinking about the fudgy
of
crinkles.
course.
Yeah.
All right. So what's
So-
the next question?
If you do you have a lot of friends that have a mental illness as well, or like?
No, I do have a lot of friends that have people around them that have a lot of illness.
Do you ever give them insights onto like?
I can't.
No, I
because-
mean like if they say,
No.
"Well, my friend is bipolar and he did this or whatever," and
No,
do you ever
I
like
can't.
pipe in and
I
go,
can't. It's, hey, how's your brother doing? Oh, he is doing good.
"Oh, say hi to your mom for me, huh?"
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's
Like
that's
kind
exactly
of
it.
kind of like a Donnie Wahlberg sort
You
of.
see, like, and like, with my mom, I just recently was able to connect with her.
That's Mike Wahlberg, I think, not Donnie Wahlberg.
You know, like,
Yeah, I'm still a New Kids fan. From
no,
way back in the day.
like she told me she was dead to me
Oh yeah.
and my daughter.
We do
Okay.
that. We do that. Bipolar people do that.
Well, no,
Yeah.
because you want to act fucking wild. You want to be wild. You want to be emotional.
Yeah, that's true.
You wanna
There's
be
some. There's
emotional. You
definitely
wanna
some
be able
drama.
to-
Well,
I
that's
was
because
in
we
St.
feel
Albert, okay?
like we feel like other people quite can't. I think some people
It
have
took me a month
managed
to
to.
finally come back and be like, you know what? That's my mom.
Yeah.
No worries. It's all good.
Raw emotions are tough to deal with. When you got a mental illness, it's almost like somebody took that film off your food that you cook, and they just cooked it dead on. So you're gonna get some
Right.
browning on the top.
Right.
We're gonna
No,
love-
I like that.
because you got no buffer. Like you're feeling those emotions raw, and sometimes you tend to overreact because we feel things very
No,
passionately.
that's 100%.
Yeah. And
That's 100%.
so someone might like have a horrible experience, and a typical person will understand that there's certain things you shouldn't do, and so you try to deal with it in a balanced way. Where someone with bipolar who tends to have runaway emotions, we may not deal with things the same way other people do because we're feeling it a little differently than you guys are. Like, you know, and we're beating ourselves
That's-
up for feeling the way
that's-
we feel. So it's like a double-edged sword, and then you add another edge too. The other edge being that, you know, we still have a
Barbs.
lot of
almost barbs.
Yeah.
As like it's sticking in, you're like there's
yeah,
barbs
like
up
a
there.
cat's penis, basically.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
If we're gonna see now, I'm doing it. God, you can't hang out with comedians because you just yeah. But this guy means a lot to me, and when you feel misunderstood by a lot of people, and you feel like even though you're working for a company and there's lots of corporate stuff going on, and you have to put on your game face and be just plain Jane vanilla basic guy, but you've got the brain of someone with bipolar, you feel kind of like the black sheep of any place you're at,
You know,
really.
something
So
comes
it's nice to
mind.
find common
Something
ground.
comes to mind when you say bipolar. I didn't even like think about it, but like
Polar extremes
okay,
are intense.
so like when you think about it, like there's a north and there's a south
yeah,
polar.
yeah,
That's what, you know, educates us on gravity. When you're bipolar, you know what I mean?
Yeah, gravity is whichever way you're feeling that time.
You're constantly switching.
Yeah, it's almost like the Earth flips around. You know?
Every time, though.
Yeah.
That you can't make a solid decision. But I think everyone that makes a solid decision goes, I wish I had bipolar, because at the same time, when you see a negative situation and you see a negative kind of like south decision, bipolar people go, oh no.
Yeah.
Unless they're pressured.
Well, we've probably grown more accustomed to it. Like, you know, I think I look at people who jump into the ocean, like those polar divers there, like in the frozen ice, and I think, how the hell do they do that? But I think if you do something enough times, like be exposed to like a polar opposite emotion and feel like,
oh wow,
you just kind of develop. It's like you're wearing a groove, like a new track,
and then you come up for air, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
All right.
I've been here before. Yeah, you kind of get a little more used to it.
That's the superpower, though.
Yeah.
I watched your other
that
video.
Takes work.
I watched your video, and I was like, yo, I'm so glad that people can see this and be like, that's a superpower to me.
Yeah.
Because, you see, it's not autism. It's not Down syndrome. It's bipolar.
Yeah.
You're literally able to go, okay, all right, we'll go low.
Yeah.
And then when you enjoy something, guess what? With the right training, with the right response, you can go, oh my God! Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa!
It's like we get a psychology degree in emotions without the...
Right. Without, no, I like that.
Yeah,
I like
without the skill of being able to handle them. But we've been exposed to this broad spectrum, not black and white, but all these different shades of gray, of different emotions. We may not become professionals at dealing with those emotions, but we've experienced them all, believe me. So we have some, something to cull from, like something that we remember. Every emotion we remember an incident where we felt that most strongly.
How can you forget?
Yeah, well, people do,
right? No.
Usually a lot of people who are medicated.
Bipolar people remember so hard.
Yeah, we do.
So hard.
Because we know what it cost us at that particular moment, whether it's anxiety or the relationship or a job.
You said it right there.
Yeah.
What cost
or a feeling,
us. What cost us.
And that's the thing. If it stays a negative, it's going to cost you lots.
Oh, I like this.
But if you find a way to tweak the issues you're having with bipolar, just tweak them a little to turn them into a strength, they will no longer traumatize you the way they did, because you got a new way to deal with it. You kind of branched out from that groove that you worn in. You branched out and you're trying something different. And who knows, it might just pan out, Oh, it might just really pan out.
Just take chances.
Yeah. Not too many, though, because I know you bipolar people, stop ending up in the news. Jesus. Those are not the chances we mean. Don't find a tower to climb. Put the rifle away, and also, just be easy on yourself, because I forget sometimes I have bipolar. I wonder, why the hell am I so down today? I have to actually remind myself that I have bipolar sometimes, because you just feel down and you want to look for reasons why, but you were born with a reson why, you know? And you need to take that into consideration, especially since no one else does. They don't care. They have their own fucking lives to deal with and their own troubles, and they don't give a shit what makes you do the things you do. They just want you to stop it. But it's not that easy. And a lot of us have tried the medication route, and man, it doesn't pan out for everyone. Some of you have bipolar so bad that you can't imagine a life without medication.
Could you imagine?
I've been there. When I lost access to my daughter for a while, and because I was just, I wanted to die. I really just could not find love.
That's a personal confession right there.
Yeah, I took it pretty hard, and because she was my world, she was my best friend, and we had a really close relationship up till about 6 years old, and then things kind of spiraled. Relationships dissolve, and sometimes co-parenting is tough. But I took it really hard, and I didn't want to live anymore. So it was a really hard time. Had I not checked myself in, God knows where I would have been. And I wouldn't have known I had bipolar until probably many years later. I just thought, well, there's something really wrong with me. I'm very, very passionate about everything, and I would flip out, I think violent was a good way to describe, my upbringing, and having ventured out on my own at 14. If you don't know how to fight, you're in a lot of trouble if you're on, living on the streets and that sort of thing. So I did little periods of that and learned a lot. And the most important thing I learned was the bipolar thing, because that started a 6-year journey of trying to find the right cocktail of medications that would try to make me feel normal. And I had some close calls, but I never really got there. I never really found the medication that didn't cause problems. Some medications would give you horrible stomach pain. Some would keep me up at night. Some would not let me come. Some would make you feel like you took some bad acid, and when you're coming down, and you can feel all the chemicals coming through your pores, and you feel that jittery sort of like you just swallowed arsenic. Medication's not for everyone, and I'm not a pharmaceutical guy. Some people absolutely need it, but we should all, as people with mental illnesses, strive to find the natural route. The body's amazing, and it has ways to heal itself, but you have to tap into it. You have to do the things that let your body do its natural healing, instead of just coding all the symptoms with medication. They really only mask the problem, so you can get by day to day without killing anyone, or including yourself. But they don't really get to the root of the problem, which therapy and a good friend, a support system will help you do, right? So who's your support guy? Like, do you have a friend that you just kind of open up to, and they just know you well enough that they can give you the advice that you needed to hear that day?
Well,
is it your wife? Say it's your wife. Come on, get some brownie points here, man. Jesus. No, not your wife. Okay, so do you have a buddy like that you can say anything to, and they'll set you straight? And like,
here's the thing, like, it's me.
Well, see, that's noble.
No.
But I don't trust me enough to do it just by myself.
I used to like a best friend, right? Mm-hmm. He was like my best friend.
Yeah.
And he got jumped by these guys.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo. I'm like, yo, don't you have any backup? He's like, no, it's just me.
Yeah.
It's just me, he says.
Yeah.
2 weeks. No.
That's a video I wrote too. Yeah, about sometimes the only person you can really count on is yourself. That's why it's really important to be a guy you can count on.
A week later, he gets fucking kicked into a fence. You know what I mean? He comes up to my bedroom, and he's sharing a bed with me at this point.
This is Josh proving he has ADD. Okay, so where does this go?
Here's the thing, right? When he was like, it's just me. It's just me. That's all I got.
That struck a chord with you, didn't it?
I was like, oh, shit. Like, so there's no more backup but me.
Yeah.
But this guy, Josh.
Dude, you inadvertently made such a great point. Honestly, guys, that is the whole point of being a bipolar roller. A lot of people with bipolar, they lean on everyone else to help them with their problem. Now, a roller grabs this bullshit mental illness by the horns and makes it his bitch, because that's what you got to do with certain things. You got to be able to count on you.
That's a superhero.
Yeah, you have to. Even at least a little bit.
Like,
be in control.
You're not even drunk or high or stoned. You just, oh yeah, all right, cool. I'll follow you into this.
Yeah.
I'll follow you into this storm.
Yeah. You have to be able to rely on yourself, because you're stuck with this motherfucker all day long. And if you don't trust him, and if you can't count on him, if he doesn't tell you it's straight, you're kind of fucked a little bit, because you're always going to be conflicting or having conflict with other people who will tell you it straight and you won't agree. Like, you got to rely on your judgment, and it takes a while to get you there. But that's where a support system is good. So you can bounce some ideas off them. Know if you're on the right track, or if maybe your mania is getting you a little loopy or making you think things you probably shouldn't be thinking.
Mania. I love how you had that.
Yeah, manic is that's one of my favorite parts of bipolar, but I can't say it's been the most beneficial.
That's the borderline of like superpower.
Yeah.
Hey,
It made me a lot of fun, I thought, but so
this is Henry. She's in her
how you
room.
doing again? So we're just so the wife's here now, and I don't want to. We're gonna do this again sometime soon. I'm gonna get this guy involved a little more because we have lots more to discuss. But
That'd be awesome.
yeah, his little lady's home, and we're gonna wrap this up for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Clocking in at 55 minutes. I really didn't think we'd talk that much.
Yeah.
Hopefully this video is as enjoyable for you as it was to make. And please check out in the description the link to 40 Seconds of Comedy and check out my friend Josh, and then you'll see why I appreciate his quirky brand of dark humor. You guys, as always, I appreciate you guys being here with me and Josh, and Bipolar Rollers represent.
No doubt.